From crypto billionaire to facing charges of massive fraud in a matter of weeks, SBF's astonishing downfall is worthy of a movie. From rubbing shoulders with Washington politicians and Hollywood celebrities to being behind bars, this former CEO went from being the savior of cryptocurrencies to one of the most hated men on the internet. His company FTX collapsed amid accusations of embezzlement on a colossal scale. And now SBF is facing a trial that could land him in prison for life. Join me in this video of the story of rise and fall. Find out how a math genius ended up doing one of the worst crypto scams ever.
Welcome to Who the F***. Please subscribe to our channel and get to know everyone you really need to meet.
In 2022, Sam Bankman-Fried was like the superhero of the crypto world. Everyone saw him as this smart and trustworthy guy, capable of making all sorts of promising and epic moves. In April, he even talked about giving away his huge fortune of $20 billion, inspired by a kind of modern-day Robin Hood. Fortune magazine even called him the next W. Buffett in August. But then, in early November 2022, something unexpected happened. Sam sat down and wrote a long message on his X profile, starting with, "I'm sorry, that's the biggest thing. I fucked up and should have done better." What happened? He was in the middle of a big shakeup in the crypto market that not only hit his own money hard, but also rocked the foundations of FTX. The company he started in 2019, and that in just 3 years, had become the third largest crypto exchange in the world. But let's step back a bit and go to the beginning. Who is this Sam Bankman-Fried? He was born on March 6, 1992 in Stanford, and despite being just over 31 years old at the time of the trial, his life story is like something out of a movie. You see, he was born on the campus of Stanford University into a upper-middle-class Jewish family. His parents, Joseph Bankman and Barbara Fried, were professors at the law school there. According to a letter signed by Dr. George Lerner, Bankman-Fried struggled with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, during his childhood and adolescence. He also had a history of another depressive disorder, but that didn't stop him from excelling in his studies, particularly in science. In fact, between 2010 and 2014, he attended the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which is considered one of the best universities globally. There, he graduated with degrees in physics and mathematics. Despite his challenges, Sam Bankman-Fried received an excellent education. His parents raised him in utilitarianism. Specifically, this is a moral teaching model that asserts that all actions should aim to achieve the maximum degree of well-being and happiness for the individual and those around him. Later, he declared himself an effective altruist, a variant that considers reason as the means to do good. However, being an effective altruist isn't just about how you live. It also influences how you do business. Many investors who follow this philosophy believe that making and amassing as much money as possible is the fastest way to do good for society. When Bankman-Fried, still a young man, ventured into the professional world, he connected with several of these investors, and they even helped him start his first company. When he became wealthy, he demonstrated generosity in politics and social causes, donating over $70 million to Democratic Party-related initiatives, making him one of the top contributors between 2020 and 2022. He also invested tens of millions in education and disease prevention. In 2017, after working in various investment roles, Bankman-Fried turned his attention to cryptocurrencies and established Alameda Research. This hedge fund navigated the volatile crypto landscape using investment strategies and algorithms. Although the crypto world was known for its instability, it was also experiencing a significant upward trend. Alameda Research did really well. So well that just 2 years later, Bankman-Fried started FTX, a cryptocurrency platform kind of like Binance, which is now the biggest crypto exchange globally. FTX's idea was simple but smart. Help people trade cryptocurrencies and in return, take a small fee from each trade. What made it super popular quickly was that it also offered some pretty complicated and risky ways to invest. In early 2022, Forbes said investors thought FTX and its US operations were worth a combined total of $40 billion. And this company helped the young entrepreneur make a ton of money, $26.5 billion in just 3 years. FTX operated from the Bahamas and spent enormous amounts of money on luxuries for both the entrepreneur and his employees, as well as for movie and sports stars who promoted the firm. For instance, NBA star Shaquille Shaquille O'Neal, as well as Tom Brady and actress Gisele Bündchen, were also part of this. In fact, the issue is so big that many of these celebrities are facing a lawsuit for false advertising. But let's go back to what happened. Towards the end of 2022, the company faced a big problem that rocked the crypto world. You need to know that FTX was like the top cryptocurrency company in the US, and it got that status by doing some behind-the-scenes work in Washington. All these connections made it seem like the favorite child in the industry. Over time, Bankman-Fried made a lot of money, and whether he meant to or not, he got on the good side of a lot of media, showing himself as a kind of crypto Robin Hood or a JP Morgan in the crypto scene. How? Well, besides the interesting story of his journey, he spent a bunch on marketing to get noticed. That's when the stars came into play. Among other big moves, FTX made a $1 million deal to name the stadium where the Miami Heat NBA team plays and aired an ad during the Super Bowl featuring Larry David. In the political world, they also stood out by giving a lot of money to the Democrats in the 2022 elections. Almost $40 million, as Forbes says. But the whole image around Sam Bankman-Fried fell apart not long after. And it wasn't because of marketing or social stuff, it was about people not trusting his companies anymore. The big issue with FTX was that it was putting most of its money into Alameda Research, which then invested in their own cryptocurrency called FTT. When it came out that there weren't real assets backing up the bets they were making, everyone using FTX rushed to take out their money. At the start of the month, FTT was worth $25.77, but a few days later, after the trouble and with the business not looking stable, it dropped to less than $3. To be fair, what FTX should have done was good risk management with Alameda. How? By demanding real assets equivalent to the bets they were making. For example, they could have asked for shares in well-established banks, government bonds, or stable cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin to cover the bets they were making. But they didn't. And that move is what caused FTT to quickly become worthless, leaving the company with a nearly $10 billion hole. At first, they thought it was $6 billion, and it wiped out all the money of the youngest crypto billionaire. It not only affected the about 130 companies connected to it, but also caused some side effects, like BlockFi, a digital asset lender that used to be worth $3 billion, but had to limit its activities now. Also, the trading company Genesis is getting a capital infusion of $140 million from its parent company, Digital Currency Group. This comes after revealing that its derivatives business has $175 million in funds locked in an FTX trading account. And like them, millions of regular users who had their money on the platform are now in a tough spot because it went bankrupt. And the problem goes beyond money transfers between Alameda Research and FTX. SBF and his partners also spent huge amounts of money in the Bahamas, where the company operated. This included mansions and all kinds of luxuries for their employees. FTX is estimated to have spent over $100 million on properties in the last 2 years, mainly on luxury waterfront homes, according to Reuters. Among them are 7 condos that cost almost $72 million in an expensive resort community called Albany, and the most expensive purchase was a $30 million penthouse that hosted Tiger Woods' annual golf tournament. All this money was kind of sneakily explained in FTX's records. The unit that bought the properties, FTX Property Holding, said they were for the residence for key personnel, but turns out Sam Bankman-Fried himself was living in one of them with 9 other FTX colleagues. And now, because of all these frauds, SBF could now face up to 110 years in prison. On Thursday, November 2nd last year, young Sam Bankman-Fried was found guilty of fraud and money laundering after a month-long trial. He got convicted of 7 charges related to tricking customers of his companies FTX and Alameda and plotting to scam buyers and launder money. Even though he could face over 100 years in prison, the official sentence will be announced on March 28, 2024. And if you think that's the end of the story, wait till you hear what's next. In March, Sam Bankman-Fried will face another trial for a second set of charges filed by prosecutors in early 2023, including accusations of bribing internationally and conspiring to commit bank fraud. What does SBF have to say about all this? Well, besides what he shared in that long X thread, his lawyer, Mark Cohen, says that Bankman-Fried still claims he's innocent and will keep fighting hard against the charges. I guess we'll have to wait until March to know how everything ends. But for now, I hope this video caught you up on the big fall of someone who used to be a major player in the crypto world. If it did, give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button down here to stay tuned for more stories like this on my channel. Thanks, and see you soon.